Jai Shri Shri Guru Gauranga Gandharvika Giridhari Radha Vinod Bihari Jiju Ki Jai. Jai Srila Gurudeva Ki Jai. Today we are celebrating the Divine Appearance Day of Srimati Jahnava Devi Thakurani, and we will be reading part of her biography and also 2 classes of our Srila Gurudev Bhaktivedanta Narayana Goswami Maharaj. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayani Tinamine. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Brinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. First of all, I offer my Sastanga Dandavat pranams 1,000 of times at the lotus feet of my Srila Gurudev Nitya Lila Pravishta Astotra Sata Shishimat Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, in the same way to all Sri Rupanuga Gaudiya Guru Parampara, and also to all Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis who are listening this or watching this. Please accept my Dandavat pranams. Vanchakalpatarubhyas Chakripa Sindhubhya Eva Chapatitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha. Today is a very special day because we are celebrating this Divine Appearance Day of Sri Jahnava Devi Thakurani, and because she is the shelter of this Krishna Prem, and she is the Swarupini Shakti of Sri Nityananda Prabhu, we pray to her that she can bless us with this Krishna Prem in our devotional path. We will be reading 2 biographies of her from the book of Bhakti Ratnakara, written by Sri Narahari Chakravarti, and also from Gaura Ganodesha Dipika. So we will have 2 biographies, and so we have the whole picture and life story of this wonderful Vaishnavi to inspire us. And also we will be reading 2 classes of Srila Gurudev Bhaktivedanta Narayana Goswami Maharaj. This comes from Bhakti Ratnakara. Sri Suryadas Sarakela lived in Shaligram. He had 5 brothers, Damodar, Jagannath, Gauridas, Krishnadas, and Nrsimha Chaitanya. His father's name was Sri Kamsari Mishra and his mother's name was Sri Kamala Devi. Suryadas used to be the king's treasurer, and it was in this connection that he was given the title Sarakela. Sri Suryadas Sarakela had 2 daughters. The older of the 2 was named Sri Vasudha and the younger was named Sri Jahnava. The Gaura Ganodesha Dipika says, Sri Varuni Revatyo Ramshamabeva Tasya Priye Sri Vasudha Jahnava Sri Suryadas Sakya Mahatmana Sute Kakumiru Pasya Cha Suryate Saja Kechit Sri Vasudama Devi Kalab Api Brinute Ananga Manjanin Kechit Janavin Cha Prakachate Upayam tu smichinam purvanyanet satam matam. Kavi Karnapur says, Sri Nityananda Prabhu's dear consorts Sri Vasudha and Jahnava Devi are expansions of Varuni and Revati, respectively. Sri Suryadas Pandit had formerly been Maharaj Kukutmi. His bodily effulgence was as brilliant as the sun. Some say that Srimati Vasudha Devi is incarnation of Srimati Ananga Manjari, and others say that Srimati Jahnava Devi is the incarnation of Srimati Ananga Manjari. In truth, both opinions are correct. They are both incarnations of Srimati Ananga Manjari. Suryadas Sarakela was a dear devotee of Nityananda and Gauranga. Seeing his daughters maturing into the full bloom of their youth, he began to think about the subject of their marriage. This is recorded in Bhakti Ratnakara. Suryadas Pandit began to think about this very deeply. Once, thinking in this way late at night, he fell asleep. At that time a dream came to him. With this his mind was filled with bliss. In his dream he saw himself giving his 2 daughters in marriage to Sri Nityananda Prabhu. Seeing this wonderful dream, the Pandit swam in the ocean of ecstasy. A little while later, his dream broke. The next morning, he told a Brahmana friend of his about his dream. He said, I saw that Nityananda Prabhu is Balaram himself. His unprecedented bodily effulgence filled the 10 directions with its radiance. His arms and legs were decorated with all manner of wondrous and beautiful ornaments. My 2 daughters accompanied him on either side of him, and having assumed the forms of Revati and Varuni, they were exceedingly beautiful. Certainly, I must offer the hands of my daughters to Nityananda Prabhu in marriage. Until he accepts them, I shall never find peace. In this way, having informed his Brahmana friend of his intentions, Sarakela Pandit dispatched him to Navadvip, to Srivas Pandit. With great haste, the Brahmana left, and soon he arrived at the house of Srivas. At that time, Nityananda Prabhu was staying at the house of Srivas Pandit. The Brahmana explained to Srivas how Suryadas Sarakela wanted to offer his 2 daughters in marriage to Nityananda Prabhu. Upon hearing all this, Srivas became happy and submitted the entire matter to Sri Nityananda Prabhu. The merciful Nityananda Prabhu told the Brahmana to return to Suryadas Sarakela with the assurance that he would certainly fulfill his heart's desire. When the news came to Advaitacharya, he became extremely happy. He said, May all this take place very soon. Meanwhile, the Brahmana returned to Shaligram and gave the auspicious news to Suryadas Sarakela. Upon hearing this, Suryadas' ecstasy knew no bounds. In Borogachi Gram lived the son of King Harihora, Sri Krishnadas. He was a great and dear devotee of Sri Nityananda Prabhu. He was prepared to bear and make all the necessary arrangements for a lavish wedding, putting his own home at the disposal of the entire celebration. Wanting Lord Nityananda to accept this and his offering, Krishnadas went quickly to Nityananda Prabhu and prayed that he might be allowed to bring the Lord to Borogachi Gram and commence with the wedding there. Srivas, Sri Advaitacharya, Sri Chandrasekhara, Murari Gupta, as well as all the other devotees of Sri Gaurasundar, gathered there and began performing Sankirtan. Sri Suryadas Sarakela's brother Krishnadas quickly returned to Borogachi Gram. Nityananda Prabhu also arrived there shortly, as did all the devotees from Shaligram. Seeing Nityananda Prabhu and all the different devotees who had arrived, Suryadas Sarakela ran out on the road before them in great ecstasy, and welcoming them, inviting them to his own home, after falling before the lotus feet of Sri Nityananda Prabhu in a humble submission. The Bhakti Ratnakara records this as follows. Falling at the lotus feet of Sri Nityananda Prabhu, Suryadas flooded the ground with his tears. With his 2 hands, he tightly held the lotus feet of Nityananda Prabhu. His voice trembling, he wanted to speak, but could find no words. Nityananda Prabhu slowly began to smile and gradually was unable to contain his ecstasy laughter. Bestowing his full mercy upon Suryadas, he embraced him. Suryadas became absorbed in bliss. Who could have understood the limits of his ecstasy? Seeing his brother Gauridas also became ecstatic. Not being able to contain his passion, was overwhelmed with internal delight. A little while later, Sri Suryadas Pandit worshipped the lotus feet of Nityananda Prabhu and offered his two daughters, Sri Vasudha and Sri Jahnava Mata, into the hands of Nityananda. The Bhakti Ratnakara says, in the opinion of both the scriptures and the people in general, Suryadas was most fortunate, having given his daughters in charity to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Nityananda Prabhu. Thereafter, following this beautiful and auspicious wedding, Sri Nityananda Prabhu remained in Shaligram Pura for some time. In time he went to Navadvip Dham and arrived at the house of Sachi Devi with his two wives. He offered his obeisances to the lotus feet of Sri Sachi Devi. Sachi Mata was delighted to see Vasudha and Jahnava. She embraced them again and again, sat them on her lap, and affectionately pinched them on the cheek. All the Vaishnavas, housewives in Navadvip, showed great affection towards the two brides of Nityananda. On the order of Sachi Devi, Nityananda went to the house of Advaitacharya in Shantipur. When Sita Thakurani saw Vasudha and Sri Jahnava, she floated into the waves of ecstasy. She also embraced them and as affectionately as Sachi Devi had. Sri Nityananda stayed there at the house of Advaita for some time, until Udaran Datta Thakur requested him to come to stay at his place in Saptagram. There he stayed for a few days, and after taking part in great Sankirtan festival, went on to Borogram. Nityananda Prabhu performed endless kirtans, pastimes, and wandered from one place to the next for this purpose. After some time, Sri Vasudha Devi gave birth to a daughter named Ganga and a son named Virachandra. Sri Jahnava Devi, on the other hand, had no children. After Sri Nityananda Prabhu, Advaitacharya, Srivas Pandit, and many other members of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's personal entourage had gone back to Godhead, Sri Jahnava Mata wanted to further inundate the world with a flood of Sankirtan nectar. At that time, in Keturi Gram, on the Falguna Purnima, the day of Mahaprabhu's advent at great festival was to be held. The three acharyas, Narottam, Shamananda, and Srinivas, the threefold mercy potency of the Lord, heard that a great festival was to be held in Keturigram at the house of Raja Santosha Datta. They too arrived to take part. The festival has been arranged by King Santosh Dutta. He was the son of Narottam's brother as well as Narottam's disciple. For this festival, Jahnava Devi herself, the wife of Lord Nityananda, had come. Along with her came her uncle, Sri Krishna Mishra, as well as Shirpati, Srinidhi, Minaketana, Ramadas, Murari Chaitanya, Dhyana Das, Parameshwari Dasa, Balaram Dasa, Vrindavan Das Thakur, and all the other dearmost followers of Sri Nityananda Prabhu. Jahnava Mata first went to the house of Gauridas Pandit in Ambika Kalna along with all her followers. The disciples of Gauridas Pandit, Hriday Chaitanya, with great cordiality welcomed Sri Jahnava Mata and all the devotees. Sri Jahnava Mata, with her own hand, cooked the offering for the Gaurnitai deities there. Having had a festival there for one night, they went on to Navadvip. Arriving at the house of Mahaprabhu and not seeing Sachi Mata there, Sri Jahnava Mata was very unhappy to have missed her and felt the pangs of separation. Sripati and Srinidhi then took Sri Jahnava Mata to their own Navadvip home. Not Srinivas Pandit and Malini Devi there, she was heartbroken and began to cry. They stayed the night there and on the following day went to Shantipur. Finding that Sri Advaitacharya and Sri Sita Thakurani had passed away, Jahnava Mata was filled with grief. Their sons, Achyutananda and Gopal, cordially greeted Jahnava Mata and all her Vaishnava associates and welcomed them with a proper ceremonial reception. At length, Sri Jahnava Mata along with her devotees associates went on to a place in Kantak Nagara known as Teliyabudir Gram, where the brother of Ramachandra Kaviraj, whose name was Govinda Kaviraj, greeted her with all respect and offered puja to her. After staying there one night, they all set out for Keturi Gram. Arriving on the other side of the river from Keturi Gram, they found that Raja Santosha Datta had made arrangements for boats to ferry the devotees across the river Padma, as well as other convenience to bring the devotees into Keturi Gram. He also made many other arrangements for the well-being of the devotees, including suitable housing and ample prasadam. Everything was decorated very beautifully. Raja Santosh Datta personally came along way down the road just to welcome Jahnava Mata and her company by offering them flowers and garlands as well as many other gifts. In this way, all the devotees headed by Jahnava Mata entered Keturi Gram while performing Sankirtan. At this time, with Srinivas, Narottam and Shamananda in front, welcomed the delegation of devotees headed by Jahnava Mata by offering their full obeisances with great humility in the dust of the road. The devotees embraced each other in great ecstasy, and gradually they filled the four directions with the ecstatic and tumultuous sound of their kirtan. Raja Santosha Datta had caused beautiful houses to be constructed to house the devotees headed by Jahnava Mata. He also made arrangements for servants to care for their every need. Gradually, the different devotees headed by Jahnava retired to their respective quarters, and after having honored prasada, they rested. Seeing that the service of the Vaishnavas had been properly taken care of, Raja Santosh Datta was very happy. The following day was the appearance day of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Within the new constructed mandir, 6 deities were to be installed. In the evening, the devotees began performance Sankirtan. Sri Raghudananda from Srikanda began to the preliminary kirtan. All the people of Keturi Gram turned out for the occasion. Within the midst of the great assembly, Nityananda's Shakti, Sri Jahnava Mata, looked very beautiful. Upon seeing the devotees gathered there, and upon hearing the divine kirtan of those great souls, all the atheists and sinners were supremely purified. Everyone had left their homes and hurried out to see the devotees and to drown themselves in the nectar of the kirtan. Everyone dived and surfaced in the ocean of ecstasy, and in this way were drowned in the bliss of Vaikuntha. In this way the kirtan continued until midnight. The following day, with great pomp, and before a huge crowd, Srinivasacharya himself performed the Abhishek ceremony for the installation of the 6 deities. On the order of Jahnava Mata and the devotees, Narottam Thakur began to perform kirtan. In the midst of the kirtan, Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu himself accompanied Nityananda Prabhu, and all his eternal associates made his divine appearance. Who can describe the overflowing of ecstasy felt by the assembled devotees there in Keturi Gram on that day? Those who could remember the festival all attained eternal fame. On the 3rd day of the festival, Jahnava Mata herself cooked the bhoga for the deities. Sri Jahnava Devi was extremely delighted by the Sankirtan festival. After purifying herself by bathing in the Ganges at midday, with great enthusiasm, she cooked wonderful preparations of rice, vegetables, and other things. Her cooking was unprecedented. Bhakti Ratnakara, 10th Taranga. Sri Jahnava Mata herself distributed prasadam by her own hand to the great souls present there at that grand festival. After the festival was over, Jahnava Mata left Keturi Gram, accompanied by her entourage of devotees, and set out for Vrindavan. On the way there, they passed through Prayag and Kashi and arrived in Mathura. There they visited Krishna's holy birthplace, and after bathing at Vishram Ghat, they entered Vrindavan. In order to welcome Sri Jahnava Mata, some of the Vrindavan devotees met her in Mathura. Sri Parameshwari Das describes this meeting and mentions the names of the different devotees who turned out to meet her as follows. There was Gopal Bhatta Goswami, a reservoir of Gaura Prema, and Bhugarbha Goswami, as well as the highly qualified Lokanath. Krishna Das Brahmachari and Sri Krishna Pandit, Srimad Pandit, and the celebrated Sri Jiva were also present there. All of them were introduced to Jahnava Mata, who was informed of their names by Jiva Goswami. Hearing all this, Jahnava Mata's great ecstasy was increased. Bhakti Ratnakara. Having approached Sri Jahnava Mata, all the Goswamis present there fell before her lotus feet and offered their pranams, and she also offered her pranams to them. Sri Jahnava Mata, seeing the ecstatic efforts of the Goswamis, was very happy. At last, she toured the holy places in Vrindavan and saw the different deities in Vrindavan, headed by Sri Govinda, Sri Gopinath, and Sri Madan Mohan. The Goswamis had made an extensive effort to see to it that the arrangements for Jahnava Mata's stay were topmost. After some days in Vrindavan, she went to see Govardhan Hill, Radhakunda, and Shyamakunda. When she visited different places of the Lord's pastime, different divine moods and emotions connected with those pastimes awakened within her. In this way, after wandering about in Vrindavan for some time, she returned to Gaudadesha, Bengal. Having reached Gauramandal, the greater circle of Mahaprabhu's pastimes in Bengal, she first went to Keturi Gram. There, the devotees came out to greet and welcome her, led by Narottam and Ramachandra Kaviraj. After staying there a few days, she went on to Budhari Gram. In Budhari Gram lived their brother of Bamshib Das, Sri Shamadas Chakravarti. She proposed that his daughter Sri Hemalata should be married to Boro Ganodesha. On her order, Shamadas gave his daughter to Boro Gangadasa. After the wedding, Jahnava Mata gave Gangadasa the responsibility of worshipping the deity of Shyamasundar. After staying in Badhuri Gram for some time, Jahnava Mata went to see the birthplace of Sri Nityananda Prabhu in the village of Ekachakra. As she took darshan there, she heard about the father and mother of Sri Nityananda, Harai Pandit and Padmavati. Hearing about her father-in-law and mother-in-law and meditating upon them, she was overwhelmed with separation and began to weep. In the company of a local Brahman, she saw the different places of Sri Nityananda Prabhu's childhood pastimes. No one can describe the bliss she felt upon seeing those places. That day she stayed at the empty house which had once been occupied by Nityananda's parents, which had once been Nityananda's home. She passed the night chanting the names of the Lord in Kirtan. Having stayed for one night in Ekachakra, she went to Kantak Nagar near Katwa. She said the place of the Lord Sannyas, and wept. From there she went to Yajigram, to the house of Srinivas Thakur. The devotees there headed by Srinivasacharya, welcomed her with great devotion. Srinivas invited her into his home and performed a puja in honor of Jahnava Mata, worshipping her. In this way, that best of the acharyas, Srinivas, absorbed himself in the service of Jahnava Mata. After staying in Yajigram for some days, she again returned to Navadvip, to the birthplace of Sriman Mahaprabhu. At that time, Ishan, the family servant of Mahaprabhu, was in his ripe old age. Upon entering the house of Mahaprabhu, Jahnava Mata fainted in ecstasy. Seeing her absorbed in a divine trance of ecstasy, the devotees also became ecstatic and began to weep tears of prem. From the house of Mahaprabhu, she went to the courtyard of Srivas, where she spent the night. And all night, in the courtyard of Srivas, the devotees engaged in Mahasankirtan, dancing and chanting with great enthusiasm, for the courtyard of Srivas is where Mahaprabhu began his Sankirtan pastimes. That night, Jahnava Mata had a dream in which she saw Sri Gaura Sundar and his devotees performing different pastimes. The following day, she offered her prayers again and again to the holy dam of Navadvip and then turned towards Ambika Kalna and set out in that direction. At again being visited by Sri Jahnava Mata, the residents of Ambika Kalna were overjoyed. Remembering Gauridas Pandit, who had since passed away, Sri Jahnava Mata wept again and again. She offered her praise there at the lotus feet of Sri Gaura and Nityananda deities. There the devotees began a kirtan, and in the midst of that great and tumultuous kirtan, Gaura and Nityananda personally appeared. That night, Jahnava Mata, as she had done previously, cooked many preparations for the pleasure of Gaur Nityananda and offered them upon the altar. Later, she herself distributed that prasada to the devotees there. That night, as she slept, in her dreams, she saw Gauridas Pandit with Gaura and Nityananda. They all offered Jahnava Mata their blessings. The following day, bidding farewell to the devotees, Jahnava Mata went to the home of Udarana Datta Thakur. There, after staying for one night Sankirtan festival, she got in a boat and returned to her own home in Korodoha Gram. In Korodoha Gram, upon seeing her once again, the devotees felt boundless joy. With great eagerness, everyone tried to push in front of the crowd to catch a glimpse of her. The devotees greeted her with Sankirtan. Nityananda's son, Birchandra, and his daughter, Sri Ganga, offered their prayers at the lotus feet of Sri Jahnava Mata, and in turn were affectionately embraced by her. She smelt their heads in affection. After this, Jahnava Mata and Sri Vasudha Devi offered their respects to each other. After this, Sri Jahnava Mata spoke of her visit to the different holy places in Gaura Mandal and Braja Mandal with all the devotees. Sri Jahnava Mata retained Parameshwari Thakur as a servant. The two of them were unlimitedly happy to see one another once again. The other devotees bid their farewells. The story of Sri Jahnava Mata's pilgrimage throughout the holy places of Gaura Mandal and Braja Mandal has become quite famous throughout the society of Gaudiya Vaishnavas. Sri Jahnava Mata is a reservoir of Prema Bhakti and is known as Nityananda Swarupini, the other self of Nityananda Prabhu. She delivered many sinners and atheists by her mercy. Her divine opulence, Aishwarya, and sweetness, Madhurya, are both astounding. The birth of Sri Jahnava Mata, the Shakti of Nityananda, is celebrated on the 8th day of the full moon in the month of Vaishakha. So now we will read from Srila Gurudev Bhaktivedanta Narayana Goswami Maharaj. After Nityananda Prabhu, Jahnava Devi was the head of all the Vaishnavas. Even Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, and all used to respect her so much. Anywhere, if there was a big Vaishnava festival, she used to go and guide them. Nityananda Prabhu had two wives, Vasudha and Jahnava. Vasudha had one son, Virabhadra. He was not taking initiation from anyone. Someone told him, "Why you are not taking initiation from Jahnava Devi?" He told that I have no faith. One day Jahnava Thakurani was drawing water from a well. At that time she was half naked, upper part of uncovered. She was going to take bath. In the meantime, Virabhadra went there for any consultation, but he saw that and he wanted to return back. In the meantime, also he saw that Jahnava has 4 hands. She manifested 2 extra hands to cover her upper body. Oh, Jahnava is not an ordinary woman. And then he fell flat at her feet. Oh, my doubt has been dispelled. You are really the potency of Nityananda Prabhu. Please give me initiation. This was spoke by Srila Gurudev, 2007, probably Hawaii. Class 2, imparted by Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayana Goswami Maharaj. Today is the appearance day of Jahnava Thakurani. Many foolish people think, "Oh, woman cannot be a guru." They think like this because they have material conception of a spiritual life. Some people think only Brahmana can be a guru, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught us not to think like this. We should not look at some external things, but we should accept the essence. Kiva vipra, kiva nyasi shudra kena nai, yei Krishna tava veta sei guru hai. It does not matter whether a person is a vipra, learned scholar in Vedic wisdom, or is born in a lower family, or is in the renounced order of life. If he is master in the science of Krishna, he is a perfect and bona fide spiritual master. We should not just judge Guru by birth or case, by some material concept. One who knows science of Krishna, that is Guru. Jahnava Thakurani was a big spiritual master after the disappearance of Lord Chaitanya. She is the potency of Lord Nityananda. Nityananda is Balaram Prabhu. First part of his life he remained without marriage, but Lord Chaitanya ordered him to marry. Ordinary person married to enjoy life, but Nityananda's marriage was not for that reason. Mahaprabhu was thinking, I'm a sannyasi. Sannyasi cannot meet with all type of persons. Sannyasi means celibacy. So how can he talk and associate with women and others? One limit is there. Mahaprabhu was thinking, how can my mercy reach to the lowest section of the society? So for that reason, he ordered Lord Nityananda to marry. Because married person can talk to everyone, Nityananda could reach all type of persons. So whom will he marry? Some ordinary woman of stool and urine? Of course not. The Lord always have his own potency. Nityananda Prabhu had 2 wives, 2 potencies. We should not be surprised by hearing this. Krishna has millions of gopis as they are all manifestations of his Swarup Shakti. The 2 wives of Nityananda Prabhu was Jahnava Thakurani and her sister Vasudha Devi. Jahnava Devi did not have children because she acted as a guru, as a spiritual master. But Vasudha had children. They were both daughters of Surya Dasa Pandit. There were 2 brothers, Gauri Das Pandit and Surya Das Pandit. Gauridas Pandit is very famous because he had so much friendship with Gaur Nitai. One time, Gaur Nityananda came into the house of Gauridas. He is the incarnation of Subal. With so much affection, he was cooking for them and talking with them. Gaur Nitai were very happy and they said to him, "We want to give you some benediction, so what do you want?" Gauridas Pandit was very clever, so he said, "I want a benediction that you never leave my house, that you will always stay here." So Lord Chaitanya, with his own hands, carved the deities of himself and Nityananda Prabhu. If you go to that place, still you can see these deities. They are so beautiful, Srila Gurudev is saying. Brother of Gauridas Pandit was Suryadas Pandit, and he also had very charming deities of Gaur Nitai. His house is also close to Mayapur. In one dream, Suryadas Pandit saw that Lord Nityananda will marry his two daughters. He felt so much happiness, but he also felt some fear. Oh, if Nityananda has no house, no job, no possessions, no rules, how can I marry my daughters to such a fellow? So some doubts he had. When Jahnava Thakurani heard, "Nityananda wants to marry me," but her father was a little bit stopping this, she became unconscious. Everyone think that she was dead, so they arranged her funeral. Suryadas was crying, "My daughter is dead now. It's better that she could marry that Nityananda." Something like this he lamented. Some special feeling came to him by Yogamaya. Nityananda Prabhu also came there, and the fragrance of his body came into the nose of Jahnava Thakurani. Immediately she stood up, so they arranged the marriage. Nityananda was dressed in a very astonishing form for his marriage. He looked so handsome, like millions of cupids. All other fathers were beating their heads. "Oh, why could not my daughter marry Nityananda?" After the marriage of Lord Nityananda meditated for 3 days. Then there was a wedding feast. The other daughter of Suryadas was Vasudha, and she was distributing the foodstuffs to the wedding guests. She has covered her face with one sari, and in other hands she had a bucket and spoon. In one moment that veil started to fall off from her head, but how she could pull it back? Her both hands were full, so she manifested 4 hands. 2 hands pulled the veil, and 2 other hands kept serving prasadam. Nityananda Prabhu saw this and he laughed. He pulled Vasudha on his lap and said, "Oh, Suryadas, you are a great miser. I will take your second daughter also as a charity." Jahnava Thakurani did great things. Under her guidance was the first Gaur Purnima festival of the appearance of Lord Chaitanya. Under her guidance everything was done. 6 Goswamis always prayed for her mercy, because she is the mercy potency of Lord Nityananda. So today is a very auspicious day. Jahnava Thakurani ki Jai. Jai Srila Gurudev Bhaktivedanta Narayana Goswami Maharaj. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his Kalyana Kalpataru has prayed as follows at the lotus feet of Sri Jahnava Mata. Having fallen into this ocean of misery, my life is a bewilderment, and I do not know how to reach its shore, nor even where to search for it. All my efforts, karma, are useless. All my knowledge, jnana, is useless, and as are mysticism, yoga, austerity, religious penance, and mundane piety. None of these processes have any power to rescue me. I am weak, helpless. I do not know how to swim across this ocean of ignorance. Who will deliver me from this dangerous predicament? Within this dangerous ocean of material existence, I see the crocodiles of sense gratification. What a terrible sight! Within this ocean I'm tossed about by the turbulent waves which constantly boil and churn like a ship without a rudder. The impulses and urges that I have acquired from my previous births are like a wind that blows the ship in all directions. My mind is unsteady. This ship has not captain, no direction. I weep in despair, seeing that I cannot cross the ocean of misery. O Jahnava Devi, today by the power of your divine qualities, be merciful to this servant of yours. Dispel this illusion which torments me and relieve me of the anguish of material existence. Let me take shelter at your lotus feet, for in this way I shall certainly cross over the ocean of birth and death. You are Nityananda Shakti, the divine energy of Nityananda himself. You are the Guru of Krishna Bhakti. Be merciful to me and grant me the shade of your holy lotus feet, which are like a wish-fulfilling tree. You have delivered countless abominable sinners. Please deliver me in this same way. Today this lowly sinner falls at your lotus feet, praying for your mercy. Jai Jahnava Thakurani Devi Ki Jai. She is the divine energy of Lord Nityananda and the bestower of Krishna Bhakti, Prema Bhakti. So please, Jahnava Thakurani, please bless me at your feet, so I can do some service, so I can improve my devotional path. Jai Srila Gurudeva Ki Jai. Jai Shri Radhe.